What up, guys? Nick here. What is going on, people? What's going on, world? Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Freedom Fridays. What's going on? What's going on? So, as we start today's show, we're going to start off as we always do. Today is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So, guys, what's going on? What's going on with your Friday? How's everybody doing? I know we are this close to the weekend and everybody's excited. Even though it's raining outside where I am, it's still Friday. It's still a great day. It's still gonna be full of possibilities. That it's the weekend, guys. It's like for real. I mean, I know it's what everybody looks forward to. Everybody looks forward to Fridays and stuff like that. But trust me when I tell you, every day should be, like your Friday. You should be looking forward to every single day. And I don't mean that to sound corny. I don't mean that to sound cheesy. But it really is. It really should be that way. That you look forward to every single day. So, in today's show, I wanted to touch briefly on, I shouldn't say briefly because I want to kind of expound on that. I wanted to touch on the Financial Literacy Month. That most of you, if you don't know already, the month of April is designated Financial Literacy Month. What's going on? Thank you guys for joining. Make sure that if you come in, please say hi. I like to make sure. Let me adjust here. I like for when you guys come in and say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and how your day is going and things like that. But like I was saying, since 2003, the United States Congress has designated the month of April as Financial Literacy Month. So, being that this podcast, depending on where you're watching or listening from, is centered around the rules of money, God's perspective on finance, that kind of thing, winning the money game, learning the rules of money, things like that. So it would be a gross mistake of mine if I don't take the opportunity to do something for Financial Literacy Month. So before we jump into the meat and potatoes, I want to let you guys know, if this is your first time seeing Freedom Fridays or hearing Freedom Fridays, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or you're listening on Anchor or another podcast platform that you're hearing this on, please be sure to subscribe. Be sure to, leave a comment. Let me know it's your first time, so I can properly welcome you in the next show. Because what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start welcoming new people to Freedom Fridays on the live show. So if you want to get a little shout out, I'll do that for you guys. I'll put that towards the end of the show. So, like I was saying about Financial Literacy Month, and this is something, ironically, for some reason, I wasn't aware that there was something official. I just thought it was something that it was established, but it wasn't as official as the United States Congress. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was something that's pretty well needed for the public. So basically, a couple things I want to get into is some of the things that you need to be doing, because one of the major mistakes that people make, and especially I grew up in the island. Sorry guys, I keep having to adjust my camera here. Sorry guys. For some reason it's not looking right. But anyways, where I grew up, in the islands and stuff like that, and just in general, the world in general, generally speaking, most people in the middle class do not have a plan, do not have, actually, that's wrong. What I will say to amend my statement is that most people, they have a plan. 95% of people have the plan, but it just depends on what kind of plan you have. See, where I come from, the plan was go to school, get a good job, make some money, save a little money, stash away some for your rainy day or whatever it is, keep your head down, work for 40 years, and collect your pension and go off into the sunset and live as best you can until, the Lord calls you home. That's the average plan. Now, what I, among millions of other people, didn't know is there's another plan. Another plan that the top 1%, they subscribe to and they often pass down to their kids. That plan starts like this. You learn about the rules of money, and how you start that is you learn to make your own money. If you guys have been tuning into my show before, I talk all the time about owning your own income. That's one of the first lessons that children that belong to belong to parents that are in the top 1%. That's what they learn. That's the first thing they learn, is they learn ownership. Owning is versus renting. Where most of us in the middle class, we've learned the opposite. As a matter of fact, where the one percenters will own everything as much as they can, in the middle class, we are taught to rent everything except for a house. One of the major things that most of us in the middle class know about owning is owning a house. That's a major goal for someone in the middle class, is to own a house, or someone aspiring to get to a better status, I should say, for now, is to own a house. And you might own your car and stuff like that, but that's another segment to it. But for the most part, us in the middle class, we're not taught about ownership, and that's one of the key things that the one percenters and their families, their children, learn very early. So, and let's start with what's wrong with the middle class mindset. The middle class mindset, and guys, this is my opinion. I could already hear some of the thoughts, but in the middle class, here is the sentiment: you fake it till you make it, and you keep up with the Joneses. You can look around everywhere in society, and you'll see a bunch of people trying to keep up. Keep up with the car, keep up with the house, keep up with the job, keep up with co-workers, keep up with your friends, and you end up making decisions that you don't necessarily need to be making, or is what's financially best for you. Now, let's just deal with that aspect of it. And it starts all the way back in high school. Ever since, especially, it's more prevalent here. Like, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but when I came here to this country in the US, um, one of the first things I saw was, and it exists in Trinidad too, because that keep up mentality, that keep up mindset, that keep up environment, where even back in Trinidad, it was, you had to have the nice shoes, because back in school, we wore uniforms. We didn't have the opportunity like most Americans do out here, that most public schools, they allow you to wear what you want to wear, which creates a whole nother issue I'll get into in a second. But we had uniforms. So, obviously you want your uniform to look crisp, you want it to look clean, you want, all the kind of stuff like that. You want to look circumspect and everything like that, pressed and tressed. But, one of our major things was shoes, big sneaker thing. And obviously there were rules, and for those of you who went to school in the Caribbean, you guys know that they made a big deal about multicolored shoes. Which back, if you listen, if you're an '80s baby or a '90s baby, early '90s baby, you still understand the concept of schools were fighting tooth and nail against multicolored shoes of all things. You know, so in where I went to school, shout out to Success Lab until in Trinidad, um, they wanted you to wear white or black shoes. And so that was a source of contention for the students, but also it created this culture of keeping up where you had to have the name brand. You had to have, you want nothing if you didn't have the name brand. You had to have the Adidas shoes. You had to have the Nikes. And especially back in the '90s, man, we talking about the Bulls. We talking about Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Dennis Rodman. We talking about Larry Bird was still playing. Like seriously, those were the days where like brands and sports, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen today, but back in it was a huge deal. So, there was definitely that keep up culture. I remember more funny enough that my mom, she came out here and she came out here to the US, and one of the seasons I remember was the fact that she sent me back these they call them caulk mouth Adidas's. And then what that really means is that the front of the shoe was like it was kind of rounded off and closed off, but it was more rounded than anything else at the front, and it had these not spikes, but they look like them. They were rubber. They look like them, but they look like running shoes, and they really did help me run faster. But that was the shoe to hit at that particular time, and God bless her. Like she was able to do that for me and send that back home, and that was the listen in Trinidadian culture at that particular time. One of the major things was if in the keep up culture, if you had a parent, an aunt, some relative in the United States that was sending you back stuff, you were on the level. You were one of the popular kids. Everybody wanted to be close to you because you could get stuff and bring all that kind of stuff. You were one of those kids that people know. Okay, you had to have somebody out there. So, and then fast forward to when I went to high school in America, it was even more of a thing where it was the clothes, it was the hats, it was the even your socks. Like I was like socks. When my dad, he drilled in our head like you had white socks, you had black socks, and then you had your church socks to go with your church shoes. And so I didn't know nothing about no Nike socks. I didn't know nothing about none of that. Like seriously, it was one of the most stressful times because it wasn't just about the shoes. It wasn't just about the J's. It wasn't just about the Nikes. It wasn't just about the Air Force Ones. Who put a two in the comments if you remember the whole Air Force One craze that hit society all over the place. Everybody wanted a pair of forces. Everybody did the best they could to get a pair of Air Force Ones, especially after Nelly came out with that song, Air Force Ones. Y'all remember that? Man, that thing is crazy. And even then, like, it was the biggest thing. So it really had that mindset of you had to have the best of the best. You had to be on the level. You had to have the right shirt. You had to have the right jeans. And they were big on labels. Like, when FUBU came out, FUBU, I'm showing my age right now. When y'all have FUBU came out and Carl Kanai and Fat Farm, like, if you didn't have them brands on your back, you wasn't doing nothing. So, and that's where it comes from, is that we spent our entire high school, I would say after like what y'all call in America, what y'all call elementary school, because we didn't have like elementary school and stuff like that. We had primary school, secondary school, and college. But what y'all call elementary school, I don't know about now, but after elementary school and you went to middle school is where the fun started, where you was in this rat race. Excuse me, to be the best dressed, to be the best looking, and to just to have the whole game working. And I'll be honest, I wasn't always that, because my mom's didn't have it, my dad's didn't have it like that. Every so often, I might get some decent, because kids, when you talk about having the stuff, your parents don't got that, and you want you want them to get you the nice shoes and the nice clothes, stuff like that, and they'll look at you in the face and take you to Walmart. Now that I'm older and I'm a father and stuff like that, like I love Walmart, but back then in those days, taking taking a teenager in high school in any country, especially in the United States, taking a teenager to Walmart school shop, like now stationary. We talking about clothes and shoes here. You got your mama or your pop taking you to Walmart, that was a death sentence. Cause them fashionistas in the high school will spot you from 5 miles away, and everybody gonna be clowning on you because they know. And this is the funny thing, I still have a hard time grasping. How do these people, these kids who knew about all these brands and stuff, brand name stuff, they could spot a Walmart brand from 5-10 miles away? How you know about Airwalks? I'm sorry, but Airwalks was my shoe. Airwalk, I love me some Airwalks. If I could find them joints today, I would be so happy. Airwalks was the joint, but it was not cool to be rocking some Airwalks. They'd be like, boy, you crazy. You rocking some Airwalks? Come on now. You could do better than that. There's no way you're gonna sit with us at the lunch table if you rocking some Airwalks. Let's be serious. So that's the kind of mindset that people have, and people had since way back in high school. So what do you think's gonna happen? You come out of high school, you go into college and things like that. Like the categories change, but it all remains the same. Everybody's on this trajectory, but even on this trajectory in life, to establish your life, you're still on this keep up mentality. You gotta have the newest car, you gotta have the biggest house, you gotta have the best clothes. And this is the thing, like this makes me scratch my brain all the time, among many things to do, is the fact that like people, there are people out there that have clothes, different clothes, a whole set of different clothes every season. Now, for those of you who are listening in the Caribbean or in other parts of the world that don't have that, don't have summer, spring, winter, and fall, listen, there are people that will change clothes every season. Like, and they have whole wardrobes every season. I'm like, first of all, I'm not on it like that. I'm really not. Like winter, spring, summer, and fall, I got for the most part the same clothes. I don't got time to go out there and go take a shopping spree for just a season. And let's not even get on the phones. Oh my goodness. Every 6 months in the US, especially, and in other parts of the world, they have a new phone which they've had the previous 6 months, but they didn't release it until then to create demand for it. That's a whole nother show. But that's the whole keep up mindset that we have as a class, as a society, is that they gotta have the best stuff. They gotta have what everybody else have. But here's the thing: if you seek to have what others have now, especially if they're not, if they're not financially independent, and I'll go over what that means in a little bit, but if you're longing to have what other people have, you will get the lives that they have. And just spending your life pining after what other people have because it's the cool thing to do. I don't even know how fast you to tell you that you'll be knocked off track, because I don't understand, for the life of me, help me, is that people would have a $1,200 to spend on an iPhone. Not knocking iPhone, not knocking Apple. They have a great product and things like that. But people will sit in line for hours to buy a $1,000 phone, a $1,200 phone, just to say they have the new iPhone. Just to say somebody else knows that I have a new phone. But then 3 weeks later, on the first, you don't have your rent money. Tell me, how does that make sense? Tell me how that actually works out in real life after the person who really don't care that you have the iPhone. They might be happy in your face and stuff like that, but 10, 15 minutes later, they're really not thinking about you having the iPhone, you having a new iPhone. They really don't care. It really doesn't move their life forward. And that's what the one percenters realize, is that they realize real early it's about security. It's about preparing and organizing your life so that you not only have the stuff you want and you have the ability to take care of yours and to be able to be financially stable. See, the one percenters, they realize that financial stability is the main goal. It's not about, for them, it's not about, yeah, let me look good in front of this person. Let me look good in front of that person. Let me do this so I get recognized for having this. You ever realize, a truly somebody that's financially independent, somebody that's wealthy. I'm not talking about rich people. I'm talking about financially wealthy people. They might have a nice car. They'll have a sports car. But here's the thing about that. You approach them about that same said sports car and say, hey, bro, nice car. Excuse me, miss. That's a really nice car. They'll have an almost nonchalant response about it. Why? Because they didn't get the car for you. They didn't get the Maserati for you. They got the car because they wanted it, and that's what they went out and got. And they got that for their enjoyment. But best believe that as much as they love driving the car, as much as they love having it out there, showing it to, while they drive and stuff like that, they're focused on other things. And I'm not gonna sit up here like I don't get excited when I see a nice sports car, when I see a supercar out there, or if I see a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or my favorite car, the Dodge Viper. I'm gonna be excited if I see one of those on the street. I always get excited for that stuff. But it can't be your main focus to do something simply because it's cool to have. Because again, life is not about that. The real world is not about that. When I say the real world, always say, because okay, let's get to this. When parents, and kids, not kids, but people, um that your parents, when you go through something, and it's for the first you go through something for the first time that has to do with any kind of problem with, like, either bills or something happened in your life that it's a coming of age thing. The first thing your parents say is, welcome to the real world. But what people have to realize is that welcome to real world statement is relative, because whose world are you talking about? There is a world where you wake up in the morning and you see stores that are open from 9 to 6:30 or 10 to 7:30 or whatever. They have business hours. So if you needed to get something, like, let's say you wanted to buy some cupcakes to take to your child's school or whatever it is, you got to know that the bakery opens up at 10 and they get closed at 7:30. So if you're not there between those hours, you're not going to get your cupcakes and your baby's going to be sad. But there is another world where you make a phone call to the owner of the business and say, hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to open up. I know you open up at 10, but can you please open up at 9:30? I'll make it worth your while. I need about a dozen cupcakes for my daughter or for my son's school today. They're doing something special. Oh, wow. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Why? Because the individual is going to make an investment just to say thank you for doing that person a favor. And just the fact that is possible is evidence to a whole other world that most of us are not a part of. Let's just be real. So what does that really say? Like, how do you get from that to a better stead, to get to where you have, and here's the thing about money. Having money is not, is if you understand it in a mature fashion, understand this. Having money, being wealthy, is not about the money you have and the racks upon racks upon racks upon racks in the bank that you have, and to say you have it. It's about giving you options. Having money, being financially independent, it gives you options. Options to be able to do things. Options to be able to accomplish things that you otherwise couldn't. So what people have a misconception of is, why have a lot of money? See, people say, you shouldn't have money, especially in the church, because we've all heard the scripture where it says the love of money is fruit of all evil. Yes, it is true. It is true. But we needed to pay close attention to that. It says the love of money is the root of all evil, because it means that if you love something, you would do just about anything for it. That's why the Bible says that, because you will descend into so many evil things if money is what you love. The Bible did not say having money, being wealthy, being financially bulletproof is evil, or is the root of all evil. Because if you look at a lot of the characters back in the Bible days, a lot of people in Bible days, King Solomon, wealthy. David, wealthy. A king, the King David, wealthy. Most of the people that even people that walk with Christ, they had money. If you look at Simon Peter, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily wealthy, but the man had a business, especially after the miracle that Jesus performed with them fishing, when he first met Peter. What do you think happened to that business? They had money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all of them had money, but you get what I'm saying is that there were people that were devout followers of Jesus Christ, devout followers of God, that they and they and David was King David is a man that even in the Bible it says is a man after God's own heart, and he was the king. He wasn't poor. People think that, especially in the church, people think that you have to be poor and lowly and you have to be humbled in poverty to be close to God. It's like, no. If you love money, that's what's going to separate you from God. But if you understand that God is your source, you are going to have that in the right perspective. So where you can have money, you can have wealth, you can be financially independent and still have everything and have God first in your life and have that right perspective. If it's not that, then definitely you have a problem. But okay, so how do we move forward? Well, the first thing is you have to have a plan. You have to. Getting to financial independence is like getting in the car and going to somewhere that you've never been before and you don't have a map. How in the world of GPS, in the world of Waze and Google Maps and things like that, would you go to somewhere you've never been before, barely even heard about? Would you get in the car and go there and you don't have GPS on, and you don't have whatever, a map at least? Listen, I couldn't read a map to save my life if my life depended on it. But GPS, who wouldn't do that? But then people will get into the realization that they have to come up with a better financial plan. Well, not a better financial plan, but they'll get into the realization where they need to save money. They need to have money, but they want to be financially independent, but they've never had an inkling to say, let's develop a plan. And that's what the 1%ers, they do very early. They're big planners. They have a game plan. See, us in the middle class, we're content. And this is another thing, that us in the middle class, we have the tendency to take advice from our uncle, from our nephew, from our cousin, from our brother that don't have or ever had any dealings in finance. They don't know the first thing officially about money to say they know financial concepts like that. And when I say financial concepts, I am talking about establishing an emergency fund. I'm talking about life insurance. I'm talking about investments. I'm talking about, the theory of decreasing responsibility. I'm talking about actual financial concepts. I'm not talking about putting 25 cents in your piggy bank to say that you have some money. I'm not talking about tips and tricks. I'm talking about sound financial concepts. Most of our relatives don't have those experiences, but we will be content and cool with following that person because we like them and we trust them, which is how decisions are made. We make that mistake. But why is it that we don't do that with other things? You have an ear infection and stuff like that. It's really messing up your day. Why not go to your cousin? Why not go to your cousin? Why not go to your brother? Why not go to your father? Why not go to your, and say here, fix my ear infection, to the point where you at the point where you passing out, but you need assistance, and you go to one of your relatives and say, I need you to fix this. No, you go, and even like this, you about to have a baby. Why don't you go to your non-doctor relative to help you have this baby? No medical experience, no nothing. Let's go. Let's sit down in your tub and let's have it. No, it's not going down like that. You're going to go get a doctor. You're going to get somebody that knows. Even if you get a midwife, they might not be a doctor, but they have experience doing what it is that you need to get done. When your car is broken down, you take it to a mechanic. You take it to somebody who knows about cars. And when I say knows about cars, don't just know where the dipstick is or know where the transmission fluid is. You go to somebody that knows how to fix it. They understand the concepts that need to be understood to be able to get you to from a point where you have a problem and now it's fixed. But we get content to go to people that have no financial background, and no financial experience to say you have never assisted anyone, you've never been in that circle before, so you don't understand concepts. And this is what these are some of the concepts that people need to know to get from where they are, which is, not having financial independence, to be able to have financial independence. These are the concepts that need to be understood. And when you first understand that you can't get to anywhere that you've never been before without a map or a GPS, you got to input the directions. You got to have turn by turn directions in order to get to somewhere you've never been before. Otherwise, what are the chances of you getting there? What are the chances? So let's go over a few of the tips that you need to learn in order to get, and this is by no means, I'll preface this right now. I've been in and around finance for quite a while, and I've assisted families in the past before to come up with a financial game plan to be able to get from where they are to where they need to be. I've done that in the past several times. And if you need that assistance, I can connect you with people that are licensed, that are trained, that are more than able to help you. And I'm formerly an appointed agent. I am a licensed agent, a life insurance agent, in the state of Florida, and I'm able to give general advice. But if you need specific advice for a lot of the things I'm going to talk about, there's certain things I can't go over in this exchange because of the fact that there's certain rules and regulations and stuff like that. So I have to keep it very general. But if you need detailed assistance, I can definitely get you to people that can get you specific information for your particular situation. Because that's one thing I want you guys to understand, is that you have to have not just a plan, because it's not one size fits all. That's another thing, is that people assume, especially in the middle class, people assume that you have a plan. Great. That's awesome that you have a plan, but Johnny's plan is not going to work for you, because John's financial situation is not your financial situation. It might be similar, but it's not the same. So you have to have a detailed financial game plan of your own that's customized to you to be able to help your family to get from where you are to get to where you need to go. So what are some of the things that you need to go ahead and do real early to be able to get to financial independence? And I'm not saying when I say real early, I don't mean that it's too late for you if you're a little older in the spectrum. You can still get there, but you're just gonna have to make some serious decisions real quick. So let's go over a couple of them. Now, first, in your plan, think of it like a financial house, right? Your first part, your foundation, is to protect the money that you make. You have income, whether you're working a 9 to 5 job or you're working freelance or you're working online or whatever it is, you need, if you have people that depend on the money that you make, you need to have something in place to protect your money. Now, there's a funny name for that. It's called life insurance. Now, what it basically is basically you are protecting your income while you're saving money. So having that in place, you will be able, if anything happens to you prematurely or unexpectedly, well, I should say prematurely, but you know, everybody has that bridge to cross. When that happens, your family will not be left financially destitute if you had not gotten to save all the money that you needed to save. Now, that's about as specific as I can get. The only other piece of information that I can give is, as far as income protection, is that experts say that you need to have about 10 times your annual income in order to be properly protected. So here's the thing. When you make up your mind that this is something that you need to do, this is a conversation that you need to sit down with your financial planner. If you don't have one, there are people that are licensed, there are people that are trained that I can connect you with personally, that will sit down with you and help you come up with a financial game plan for free. Right? Like, yes, I said it. There are people that I can hook you up with that will sit down with you in your home and or at your office if need be, um, to come up with a financial game plan for free. Now, the next step is establish an emergency fund. Now, financial experts also say that an emergency fund consists of 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses, your rent, your utilities, your groceries, all your financial responsibilities for the month. You need to have 3 to 6 months of that saved up in order for you to have a fully funded emergency fund, so that you're not, if something happens, God forbid, you lose your job, you're able to cover your bills for the next 3 to 6 months while you seek other means of income. The next thing that needs to be done is establish a long-term savings plan, aka a long-term retirement savings engine. Now, again, I will say this, I am not investment license, but again, I do have connections personally with people that are investment licensed that can give you specific information. But what I can say is establishing something as simple as a Roth IRA is something that's great out there. Teachers, there's 403s that are out there. You know, get with a financial professional to get you established on a long-term financial savings plan so you can have something for your retirement. And I wanted to share something with you guys real quick. I wanted to share something with you guys. People say, well, I should say that, you know, financial experts recommend that you save 10 to 15% of your income starting when you're in your 20s. So let's let that sink in for a second. Look at where you are on the totem pole as far as how old you are, and know and let that really be a litmus test to see how much you really need to start saving. Another statistic is that for most people who want to retire and they get to the age of 65, to have $40,000 a year, you need to be saving now. You need to be saving aggressively now. This is not talking investment right now, not aggressive investment, but you need to start saving seriously and substantially to be able to retire on it, because you need at least 80% of your current income, right? You need at least 80% of your current annual income. So I don't know what specifically that means for you as far as, your personal income. You'll be able to do that math when you have your salary in mind. You'll be able to do that math so you know exactly how much you need to have that 80%, so you're able to tell how much you need. But you need about 80% of your income. The second thing about that is to know. Look at this. If you look at gas prices, I remember when gas was 97 cents. I remember when gas was 97 cents at the age of 15 years old. I'm 35 now. This is 20 years, right? Gas is two something. Last time I checked, the pump was $2.47. Excuse me. So which means that the gas has tripled. Excuse me, almost tripled in the last 20 years, right? Groceries have gone up almost triple the price of what it used to be 20 years ago versus what it is now. It's almost tripled. The standard of living is almost 4 times what it used to be 20 years ago than it is now. But let me ask you something. Has your income changed in the last 20 years? Has your income changed much? 4 times as much in the last 15 years, the last 10 years, in the last 5 years? Has your income changed? Has your income changed that much from the last time you checked? When you factored in where you started at and where you are now, has it changed fourfold since then? If the answer is no, then you need to be saving more money. Now, for some people, just $50 a month can literally make the difference in you having something put away for retirement, or you not having anything at all put away for retirement. And I understand people got bills, people have responsibilities, you have a life to pay for, but there are sacrifices you have to be able to make by giving up your coffee, giving up a latte every day for every day for 30 days, and you do that ongoing every month. Just how much is a latte now? Like $5. Let's say it was $5 for this example. I know they're probably more, but let's say $5, right? That's what more. Let's see, $5 every day. Let's take that for a week. So that's 7 days. 7. Let's see. My math is so not happening right now. 7 5s are 35. That's $35 a week, right? You got somebody in the comments put that in the comments there. $35 a week. That's more than halfway to your $50 mark, guys. And that's one sacrifice. You sacrifice one latte a day from Starbucks, $5, and you're more than halfway towards your goal. If you did that, don't go out for one time you take away from going out to dinner for the month, and you're more than 100% of the way. Most people spend on average probably about $50 every time they go out to eat. And if you don't, it's probably $25. Even still, if you do both of those things, you will have at least $50 in your budget to be able to put something towards saving. Now, I can tell you based on interactions that I've had in the past with people, I've sat down with families, that most of them, 95% of those people, I can sit down with those people and find $500 in their budget that they can move things around, tighten their belt a little bit, and get $500 from their budget that they didn't see before. So if you have an extra $500 a month on average, I'm not saying everybody, but on average, what can you do to be able to properly save? You'll have something to be able to put aside to say, I can make some investments to, and not just in the stock market, not just in all that stuff, but putting aside. And guys, listen, that 1% or the 0.5% that you get at your local bank, that's not even a drop in the bucket to what they're getting for your money. Do the research. It's online. Do the research. It's for free. How much money banks are making? They're making a mint off of your money. Let's say you put $1,000 in the bank. Look up how much that is online. You will see what percentages they're able to get, and they're only giving you 0.5 or at least 1%. See how much it is. I dare you. You'll be unpleasantly shocked. So the next thing, aside from establishing a long-term savings plan, is getting out of debt. Credit cards, loans, any kind of revolving debt, any kind like things like your credit cards are revolving debt. When they say revolving, they're talking about it comes in monthly and things like that. It usually has an interest rate, things like that. When you're talking about like loans, fixed debt, things like that, that is mostly what I'm referring to right now. The key, and listen, I'm not saying all credit cards are bad. I know Dave Ramsey got out there and said credit cards are bad. You shouldn't have a credit card and stuff like that. And I understand why. I understand the mindset. Because it gives you an excuse to use money you don't have. That is the concept of a credit card. That is the concept of a loan. It's money you don't have. So you have access to. So when a situation comes up, guess what you turn to? That's why Dave Ramsey says, don't have any credit cards. Cut them up. But if you must have a credit card, you need to learn how to use it. It's like people who say you shouldn't have guns. And I know this is a sensitive topic, but let's not dive all the way into that. It's just like having a gun. You have to have respect for the gun. You have to know how you're able to effectively and safely use it so that you won't hurt yourself and others. It's the same with the credit card. It's the exact same with the credit card. You need to be able to learn how to use that tool to your benefit so you don't hurt yourself and others. Now, experts say that you should only use about 30% of your available credit line. So let's say you have $100, or let's say you have $100 in your credit line. For this example, you are literally to only use $30. So multiply that on a bigger scale. If you have $500, you only use about maybe 200, maybe 250. not 250, sorry, maybe 200. If you're going 200, you're going too far. I would say to stay right at 30%, you use $150, no more. If you have a credit card in your wallet right now and it has a $500 limit, you don't need to be spending on a monthly basis any more than $150. And here's another tip. If you don't, like, let's say you got to go to the store, let's say you go to Macy's or whatever, and you're trying to get some pants, or you're trying to get a dress or whatever it is, and the price of whatever it is $50. Listen, if you don't have that $50 right now in your budget to pay that back at the end of the month, don't do it. Don't do it. As a matter of fact, I would go on record and say, if you're not going to get that money back, and this is outside of your responsibilities now, outside of your responsibilities, if you don't have that money within 2 weeks outside of your bills and responsibilities to pay that back, don't do it. Because you're going to put yourself in a situation where you can't see a way to be able to pay that and to take care of your responsibilities, and that's how the snowball starts. So don't do it. Stay within 30% of your credit limit, of your credit line. Use only 30% maximum for that card, whatever it is, whatever limit you have. So what you do is, it's called the snowball effect. What you do is you take the highest interest first. Let's say you have loans, you have credit cards, you have a few credit cards. You put the highest interest first and you list them down to the least. And as you pay one off, you don't go out and buy an iPhone because you've paid off. Let's say you paid off your first loan at $1,200. You pay that off and you go buy. No, you take that money that you were spending monthly. Let's say you were spending $150 on that particular bill every month. You take that $150 and you put it towards the next bill, in addition to what you would pay for that second bill. And then you keep going like that. As when you pay off the next one, you take the money, instead of going to spend the money, you take that money and you put it towards a third bill, and so on and so on and so on and so on, until you pay everything off. You'll be surprised to see how fast you would get out of debt. The next thing, once you're done with all that, you need to find out what your credit score is. You need to find out where your credit is at, what you have on your credit report, what's available in your credit report to be seen for other companies. Why? Because there's so many different things that your credit has dealings with in your life. It's not just to buy a house. It's not just to get a loan in general. It's not just to do those things. These days, companies are looking at your credit report to see if they would give you a job. And most people, even in dating life, people will look at your credit report and say, okay, and yeah, people are doing that these days. They're looking people up to find out what their credit is like, and they're swiping left because they're like, okay, that's yours? No, thank you. And they move on to the next. So find out what your credit score is. You could literally go to Credit Karma and you could get your credit score for free on at least two of the major credit reporting agencies. You can go on there and you can get your scores for free, and they'll give you a detailed breakdown on your credit report so you can be able to see what it is, see what's on there, see if there are any charge-offs, any late payments, anything like that. It'll have your entire credit report for free on there. And I've used this personally. I love Credit Karma, and there's no strings attached. They give you even recommendations, what you need to do, what they suggest, and these are sound financial suggestions that they're making. These sound financial concepts they're using to make these suggestions to you as the consumer. So if you go download the app, it's available for iPhone, it's available for Android. You can also go to the website www.creditkarma.com, and you can see your credit score and things like that, because having decent credit is where you start. If you have a credit score of 600 or better, that is excellent. That is excellent. More than 80% of people in society today have less than perfect credit. So, and it's, again, like I said before, it's not just to have the ability to buy a house or to buy a car or whatever. You need to have that because it's a part of your financial life. It's a part of your financial house. So you need to be able to have credit, good credit, in order to be able to have buying power, to be able to say that somebody can look at your financial profile and go, hey, we can trust this person. But they say the ideal to have is above 700. And your credit score is above 700. Now, I know a lot of my friends that are credit experts, they're looking at me going, so you can just plug me in here. And I have several different people, like I said before, I have several different people that are credit repair specialists, that they'll be able to help you for low cost. So if you need that information, if you need that guidance, just message me or leave a comment below, and I will connect you with someone that I personally vouch for, that I personally believe that they will help you. And I'm not going to get y'all into nothing that is squeamish or nothing like that, but people that will genuinely help you to make a difference in achieving good credit. And last but not least is start earning extra money now. Like right now. Like, there are things that I'm personally involved in that can start in online, as far as making money, that you could literally start making money today. And some of them are totally free. You don't have to pay anything to start. There's something as simple as an app that I use, that I've made over $1,200 with, and basically by sharing it online. So, you can definitely start making money today, but you have to understand, you have to make up your mind. Starting a home-based business is not the easiest decision to make, but it's a decision that most people are looking to make today because they need the extra money. Because I'm sorry to tell you guys, but while people are fighting for $15 an hour, $15 an hour ain't nothing. Maybe if you're home in your mother's basement and you're not paying no rent, you're not paying no bills, and you're 17 years old, maybe $15 could basically make a big difference in your finances. But other than that, I am sorry to let you know that $15 an hour is not going to cut it in the least. Much worse if you got kids and you're married and you have a house or an apartment and you don't live in your van. No shade to people who are in that situation, because I'm not, I've been there. It's not fun. But if you have any kind of responsibilities, any kind of financial responsibilities, $15 an hour, I am here to tell you, it is not going to make a significant difference in your finances. So you need to make money, extra money, like now, ASAP. So what do you do? How do you know what the right business opportunity is? Now, first, it has to be something that you believe in. And this is how I am personally. If I don't believe it, if I can't get behind it, if I can't see myself using whatever product or service and see myself benefiting from it, that's how I know. Because think about something as simple as going to the movies. If you go to the movies, let's say you went to see, oh, I don't know, you went to see Black Panther, or you went to see Captain Marvel, or you went to see Tyler Perry's Acrimony or Medea movie or something like that. If you thought the movie sucked, what would you do? You would tell people if they asked you, hey, if I went to see such and such movie, what did you think about it? Oh, I didn't like it. It sucked. But by the reverse, it's the same. If you went to see a movie and you absolutely loved it, what naturally happens? You go out there and you tell people, I loved watching this movie. It was a fun experience. I had a great time. It was a great cinema photography, or whatever else it is that people say. You amped and excited about the movie, and you recommend naturally by your excitement, and that person goes along and they see the same movie, and the excitement spills over and it keeps going and going. It's the same thing in a home-based business. If you can't get behind it, if you can't use it, I don't recommend you do it. I've let's say for instance, coffee. If you try to sell coffee and you don't like how it tastes, what are the chances that you sell it? Zippy. That's what it is. You have no chance of making any money with that coffee brand if you don't like it. But if you like it, you love it, you enjoy drinking it, you drink it 4 times a day, and it's the best thing since sliced bread, guess who's going to make money? It's a natural progression. If you believe in something, you will stand behind it. You will recommend it to the people that are closest to you and closest to those in your world. The second thing is the company legitimate? Is the company legitimate? Do they have a positive rating on the Better Business Bureau website, the Triple B website? You go to www.tripleb.com and you can see, and you look up by the state that they're listed in, if their corporate office is in, and you can see how they're rated by the Better Business Bureau. And another way you can see if they're legitimate or not is, what are people saying? What are people saying, not just about their experience with the company, but is it a real place? Is it a real place that you can actually go to? Not to say that you have to go there, but is it a real place that somebody can go to and actually is a real place? And do they? And here's the key thing above social proof and opinions and all that kind of stuff. Do they provide the service or product that it is that they say that they provide? And how do you know that is what it is? If you don't have the courage to say, let me invest in it and see if they provide that great product, let me get somebody you know and love and you trust to try it. Hey, let's me and you put together and let's see if this thing works. If it works, let's jump on it. And if they provide the service that they say they provide, it is legitimate. Because what happens in the online world a lot is that, and not just in the online world, but in business in general, is that you'll have a bunch of people get on there, whatever opportunity it is, they'll get into it, and they'll be like, oh, well, I tried it for a couple of months, like maybe 2-3 months, and it didn't work for me. What does that mean? It means that, and more often than not, it means that they didn't work. A lot of times that you would see that people have bad things to say, oh, this didn't work, that didn't work. Gyms work. If you go to the gym every day and you run every day and you lift weights three to four times a week, guess what's going to happen? The weight will come. Fancy that, the weight will come off of you. But people say, oh, Gold's Gym ain't work for me. Oh, Planet Fitness ain't work for me. Oh, Shack Gym ain't work for me. And that ain't work for me. No, you didn't work. And it's the same in business. This business ain't work for me. That opportunity didn't. Did you do what they required you to do? And here's the thing. Most of these things are commission-based, which means it's not an evil word. It's not an evil concept. It just means you do what they ask you to do. You get paid. Nothing more, nothing less. Even as simple as the app. You get paid for sharing an app, right? Here's literally what it is. You tell your friend, hey, there's this awesome app that you can download. It's for free. Go ahead, go download it, and link your debit card or credit card so they can give you cash back, because that's what it does. You go there, you get your friend to do that, and they do it, and you will get paid. What happens if you tell your friend and they don't link their card? You don't get paid. It's a simple thing. You can't be a Comcast representative and you show up to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and expect to get a check, and you're not on the phone. If you are paid to be on the phone at Comcast, the only way that you make money is you show up, you clock in, and you do your job. If you show up, you can't get a check. If you show up and clock in wrong, you're not getting a check. If you show up and you clock in, but you don't get on the phone, you ain't getting no check. It's a simple thing to understand. If a company says you get paid based on the referrals that you bring, if you don't get the person, if you don't refer the person, how do you expect to get paid? Whatever your job is, and when I say job, I don't mean 9 to 5, but whatever your requirement is to do in a business, if that's what you need to do to get paid, you need to do it. And anything less than doing it will not get you any money. You don't get paid to just talk. Some people do, but that's not okay. That's literally a rare circumstance where you just get paid for telling somebody, every person you tell, right? But most businesses out there, most businesses, online or offline, whatever opportunity, they require you to do something. They require you to get somebody else to initiate an action in order to get paid. So that's how you know that a company is legitimate, that it's a real place. They do what it is they say that they do, and you can actually go there and you can actually get some proof to say, hey, this person did business with this company and they're good people. Those are what you need to know, and you need to believe in what you're about to do. Those are what you need to know. If you know those 4 things, you good. Find a business that has those 4 things checked off, and you are off to the races. Now, naturally, like I said before, if you want to learn about opportunities and stuff like that, I have on my website, and it's listed up here in the description. And for those of you who are listening on Anchor and stuff like that, or listening to this on another podcast platform, or watching this on YouTube or whatever, I'll have the information available to you guys. If you're on YouTube, you can look in the description below, or if you're listening to the podcast, you can actually go to my website, or you can go to I'll have the website listed, the link listed and things like that. Just message me if you're listening to the podcast. Message me through the podcast, and I'll get you the link. And I'll also put this on my social media. It's Mr. Millionaire Insight. On Facebook, it's also Mr. Millionaire Insight. On Instagram, you can find me on there. You can message me on there, and I'll send you the link to my website and things like that. So you can get linked up with some of the opportunities that I have, that, you know, to start something, because it can start as simple as, like I mentioned, the app. There are other things. There's so many other things out there that they will pay you. Look at Uber, look at Lyft. I know that, you know, they haven't been really popular as far as drivers lately, but they still make good money. And people like myself, I still get paid to refer people. That's as simple as the concept is. And you don't have to quit your job. I'm not telling you that all jobs are bad and they're evil and that you should have nothing to do with them. I'm just saying you need to own your own income, because when you own your own income, you have the power and the ability to make a difference in your financial life. It's one of the most telling concepts that people fail to understand, is that owning your own income is where you're able to make a big difference in your financial situation. You need more money. That's what it is, simply put. So these are just a couple of the things that you can do to start making a difference in your financial life. If you want more information, like I said, you can go to my website. I'll put the link in the description. You can message me, and I will get you the link to my website. So you can be able to you can go get to the website. I'm sorry. You can also go. I can also be emailed at millionaireinsight, the number 4 in the word life, at gmail.com. If you need to email me to get my website information. If you're watching this on the podcast, you can do that watching this. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you can definitely email me at that email address to be able to get my website information, or just go to my social media profiles, and you'll be able to get that. So I know we're well far spent here, and I thank you all for your patience. I thank you all for listening and giving me some time on your Friday. I really appreciate all the love. I really appreciate all the comments. I really appreciate all the support. Stay tuned, guys, because we have some wonderful things coming up on Freedom Fridays. If you have not already decided to follow me on Facebook, what you waiting on? I'm just saying, when this live goes off on Facebook, you can click follow me and then click see first to make sure you never miss another Freedom Friday, or you never miss another video that I put out on Facebook. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Millionaire Insight, the number 4 in the word life, on youtube.com, or you can favorite this on Anchor and other podcast platforms if you are listening to this on the podcast. So that's how you guys can get in contact with me. If you need information, trust me, it's definitely recommended that not just for this month, but every month, that you take some time to do what it takes to get into financial independence. So if you need detailed information, make sure and get in touch with me. and we'll get you connected with licensed trained professionals that will be able to give you a specific solution to come up with your game plan in order to get you to where you need to be. All right, guys, make sure you guys share this out. Make sure you share it with your friends. April is Financial Literacy Month. Make sure you pass this along. I know it's a little long, but it's definitely better to learn these concepts now, because time is something you don't get back. And in the financial game, time is everything. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I really love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and enjoy every moment that you have alive, that you have in the land of the living, because God meant it for you to live an abundant life. And if it's not payday for you today, it should be. All right. Until next time, guys, live life, love God. See you when I see you. Peace.